friend of mine the other day started talking about what libertarians need to do, that we need to focus on economic issues, and he was just like, it's the economy, stupid, and if we don't, if we don't focus on economic issues, and we're lost. But I think it's funny in the way he's saying it. He's like, you've got all these other issues, the war, and you've got the issues of the war on drugs, and you've got all these other issues that convolute the message of it's the economy, stupid. And I just want to tell the guy, it is. The war on drugs is the economy. The war on terror is the economy. You don't understand that all these things, entitlements and healthcare and the war and all these things add up to what's wrong with America, then, you don't get why it is the economy stupid. Democrats will ask one question, and that question is, what do you intend to do? What is your plan for X? What is your plan for healthcare? What is your plan for this? And what they don't seem to understand is, I just use this analogy. It's like people in a room, and there's a Democrat sitting there, and he's poking everybody in their left eye. And he's got three people, he's poking them in the eye, poking them in the eye, poking them in the eye. It's like, ow! And then, it's not like he doesn't have a plan. The guy has a very methodical plan. He's then going to go back and poke them all in the right eye. So he goes back and pokes them all in the right eye. And then I walk into the room and I say, hey, how about you stop poking these people in the eye? And then the Democrat would turn to me and say, well, what's your plan to poke them in the eye? And my point is that we don't have to have a plan for health care. We don't have to have a plan for all these things. It's not the government's job to have these plans. The Secretary of State office in Texas actually sent out a release that went to teachers, and the release was an explanation of why we have a two-party system. The release was an explanation that the reason we have a two-party system is so that we can ensure majority rule in a democratic state. Now, I don't know if many of you are familiar, but for giggles, I went online and I got the Constitution, and I did Control F, which means find those words. You can't find the word democracy or democratic in the Constitution. You don't find the words majority in there. You don't find the word majority rule in there. You don't find majority rule, and then you find nothing about parties or parties. So the Texas Secretary of State has just shredded the Constitution. We don't actually live in a democratic state. We live in a republic where we have rights. Because a lot of people say, well, no, this is a democratic republic. I see sort of what you're saying, but then they'll say, right now with computers, we could have direct democracy, everybody could vote. And then everybody would be like, oh, can you imagine that? Everybody's just like, oh, I'm going to vote myself for a gold vote. And everybody wants a gold vote, but we can't go around giving everybody gold votes. We have rights, and that's the main thing that our Constitution is about. A constitutional republic doesn't mean that we elect leaders to go up and represent us. It means we elect leaders that are going to enforce the Constitution, or try to at least stand up for it, or try to do something. But right now, we don't have people that are doing that. Talk about gun rights. Okay? Right now, gun rights and the Second Amendment aren't really about guns. It's about defending yourself. You have an innate, unalienable right to defend yourself. It didn't matter. When they wrote it, the best way to defend yourself was a gun. So they used guns. If we were using lasers right now, the Second Amendment would be on lasers. But the fact is that you have a right to defend yourself, you have a right to defend your home, you have a right to defend your property, and you have a right, if you need to defend your country. And that's why we have the Second Amendment. And that is what the Second Amendment is all about. But these are all about rights. And what I think about is in terms of like American Idol, right now, millions and millions of Americans will watch American Idol. And they'll get in their head, oh my God, American Idol, I'm voting for Billy or Pepe or Sue, or whoever they're voting for. But could you imagine if those same people had their finger on the trigger of a direct democracy? You know what I mean? What we'd end up with? Do you want those people that are watching American Idol in charge of whether you do have the right to have a weapon? Or will you have the right to not be searched and sieged? Will you have the right to a fair trial or whatever? Whatever they may decide, do you really want the people that are watching American Idol having that kind of power? That's why it's important that we all stand up for the Constitution every time. The Republicans don't stand up for the Constitution. They never stand up for the Constitution. And all I can promise people is as I run, and if I win, that's the one thing I would do. If it's not in the Constitution, I'm not voting for it. I'll make Ron Paul look like a yes man.